Many who are older than they did not come back. You will sing with us, then? What parts?
I'm not sure yet, Kit said. Sri needs to see if all her people come in. The Silent Lord, Nita said.
Indeed. Arun looked at her for several long moments. You are a good age for it, he said. And you are learning the song.
I got most of the details from my manual, she said. She had been up studying late the night before, though not as late as Kit had. A lot of exertion in salt air always left her drained, and she'd put the book aside after several hours to finish the fine details of her research later. The sea will give me the rest, Cerise says, as we go along.
So it will. But I would have you be careful of how you enact your part, young Neat.
Arun drifted a bit closer to her, and that small, thoughtful eye regarded her carefully.
There is old trouble and old power about you and your friend, as if blood hung in the water where you swim. The lone power apparently knows your names. It will not have forgotten the disservice you did it recently. You are greatly daring to draw its attention to you again. Even the heart of the sea, Time Heart, as your kind calls it, may not be quiet for one who has freely attracted the Lone One's enmity. Beware what you do, and do what you say. Nowhere does the lone power enter in so readily as through the broken word.
Sir, Nita said, rather unnerved, I'll be careful.
That is well.
Arun looked for a moment at Kit before speaking.
It is a whale sark, is it not?
Yes, sir, Kit said in the same respectful tone Nita had heard him use on his father.
Have a care of it, then, should you find yourself in one of the more combative parts of the song, said Arun. Sperm whales were fighters before they were singers, and though their songs are often the fairest in the sea, the old blood rises too often and chokes those songs off before they can be sung. Keep your mouth closed, you were best, and you'll do well enough.
Thank you, sir.
Enough politeness, young wizard,
Arun said, for the first time sounding slightly crusty.
If size is honor, you have as much as I, and as for years, just keep breathing long enough and you'll have as many of those as I do. Sri, you travel more widely now than I, so I put you a question. Are the shakings in the depths worse these days than they ought to be at this time of year and tide of the moon?
Much worse, eldest. That was why Nu originally wanted to convene the song. And I don't know if the song will be in time to save the fishing grounds to the east and north, around Nantucket and the races. Hot water has been coming up close to there, farther east and south. The shelf is changing.
Then let us get started, Arun said. I assume you came to ask me to call in some of the celebrants, time being as limited as it is.
Yes, Arun, if you would, though as the rite requires, I will be visiting the Pale One tomorrow, in company with Neat and Kit. The meeting place for the song is to be 10,000 lengths north-northeast of the shoals at Barnegat, 3 days from now. A fast rehearsal, then right down the channel and through the gates of the sea to the place appointed.
Well enough. Now administer me the celebrant's oath, senior, so that I may lawfully call the others.
Very well. Cerise swam up close to Arun, so that she was looking him straight in one eye with one of hers, and when she began to sing, it was in a tone even more formal and careful than that in which she had greeted him.
Arun Waur, those who gather to sing that song that is the sea's shame and the sea's glory, desire you to be of their company. Say for my hearing whether you consent to that song." "I consent," the blue said in notes so deep that coral cracked and fell off rock shelves some yards away. "And I will weave my voice and my will and my blood with that of those who sing, if there be need. I ask the second time that those with me, both of your mastery and not, may hear. Do you consent to the song?" "I consent, and may my wizardry and my mastery depart from me sooner than I abandon that other mastery I shall undertake in the song's celebration. The third time and the last I ask that the sea and the heart of the sea shall hear. Do you consent to the song?" "Freely I consent," Arun sang with calm finality, "and may I find no place in that heart, but wander forever amid the broken and the lost, sooner than I shall refuse the song or what it brings about for the good of those who live." "Then I accept you as celebrant of the song, as blue, and as latest of a line of saviors," Suri said. "And though those who swim are swift to forget, the sea forgets neither song nor singer." She turned a bit, looking behind her at Hotshot. "Might as well get all of you done at once," she said. "Hotshot?" "Right." The dolphin went through the oath much faster than Arun had, though his embarrassment at being referred to as swift fire in the water was this time so acute that Nita actually turned away so she wouldn't have to look at him. As for the rest of the oath, though, Hotshot recited it, as Nita had expected, with the mindless speed of a person who thinks he has other, more important matters to attend to. Suri turned to Nita. "We can't give Kit the oath yet," she said. "We don't know who he's going to be." "Can't you just give it to me and leave that part blank or something?" Kit said eagerly. He loved ceremonies. "Kit!" "No, Kit." "Nit, do you know the words?" "The sea does," she said, finding it true. Suri had already begun the ritual questioning. Nita felt for the response, found it. "I consent, and I will weave my voice and my will and my blood with that of those who sing, if there be need." It was astonishing how much meaning could be packed into a few notes. And the music itself was fascinating, so somber, but with that odd thread of joy running through it. She threw herself into the grave joy of the final response. "And may I find no place in that heart, but wander forever amid the broken and the lost, sooner than I shall refuse the song or what it brings about for the good of those who live." "Then I accept you as celebrant of the song, and as silent one, and as the latest in a line of saviors. And though those who swim are swift to forget, the sea forgets neither song nor singer." Sri looked at Nita with an expression in those blue eyes of vast relief, so much like the one she had given her and Kit when they'd first agreed to help, that Nita shuddered a little with the intensity of it, then smiled and sighed. It was nice to be needed. "That was well done," Arun said slowly. "Now, Suri, give me names, so I'll know whom to call." A few moments of singing ensued as Suri recited the names of 5 whales Nita had never heard of. Her inner contact with the sea, moments later, identified them all as wizards of various ratings, all impressive. Arun rumbled agreement. "Good enough," he said. "Best get out of the area so that I may begin calling." "Right. Come on, Kit. Neat. Till the moon's full, Arun." "Till then."
They swam away through the darkening water. Sri set the pace. It was a quick one. "Why did we have to leave in such a hurry?" Kit said. "There aren't many wizardries more powerful than a calling," Sri said as she led them away. "He'll weave those whales' names into his spell, and if they agree to be part of the song, the wizardry will lead them to the place appointed at the proper time." "Just by singing their names?" "Kit, that's plenty. Don't you pay attention when someone calls you by your name? Your name is part of you. There's power in it, tied up with the way you secretly think of yourself, the truth of the way you are. Know what a person's name means to him, know who he feels he is, and you have power over him. That's what a rune is using." That was a bit of information that started Nita's thoughts going in nervous circles. How do I think of myself? And does this mean that the people who know what I think can control me? I'm not sure I like this. The first note rumbled through the water behind them, and Nita pulled up short, curling around in a quick turn. "Careful, Nit," Sri sang, a soft, sharp note of warning. Nita backfinned, hovering in the water. "Don't disturb his circle." Looking back, she wouldn't have dreamed of it. The water was growing darker by the second, and as a result, the glow of the krill in it was now visible, a delicate, shimmery, indefinite blue-green light that filled the sea everywhere. The light grew brighter moment by moment, but it was brighter still at the surface, where the waves slid and shifted against one another in a glowing, undulating ceiling. And brightest of all was the track left by Arun's swimming, a wake that burned like clouds of cool fire behind him with every slow stroke of his tail. At the head of the wake, Arun himself traced the grand curves of his spell, sheathed in bubbles and cold light. One circle he completed, melding it into itself as he sang that single, compelling note. Then he began another at right angles to the first, and the water burned behind him, the current not taking the brilliance away. And the blues song seemed to get into the blood, into the bone, and would not be shaken. "Kinyi," Cerise said, "we can't stay. You said you have to get back." Nita looked around her in shock. "Suri, when did it get so dark? My folks are going to have a fit." "Didn't I mention that time didn't run the same way below the water as it does in the above?" "Yeah, but I thought—" Kit said, and then he broke off and said a very bad word in Whale. "No, I didn't think. I assumed that it'd go slower." "It goes faster," Nita moaned. "Kit, how are we going to get anything done? Suri, how long exactly is the song going to take?" "Not long," the humpback said, sounding a bit puzzled by her distress. "A couple of lights, as it's reckoned in the above." 2 days! "We're in trouble," Kit said. "That's exactly what we're in. Sri, let's put our tails into it. Even if we were getting home right now, we'd have some explaining to do." She turned and swam in the direction where her sharpening whale senses told her home was. It was going to be bad enough, having to climb out of this splendid, strong, graceful body and put her own back on again. But Daireen was waiting to give her the Spanish Inquisition when she got home, and her mother and father were going to give her more of those strange looks. Worse, there would be questions asked. She knew it. Her folks might even call Kit's family if they got worried enough. And Kit's dad, who was terminally protective of his son, might make Kit come home. That thought was worst of all. They went home. It was lucky for them that Nita's father was too tired from his fishing, which had been successful, to make much noise about their lateness. Her mother was cleaning fish in the kitchen, too annoyed at the smelly work to much care about anything else. And as for Daireen, she was buried so deep in a copy of the Space Shuttle Operator's Manual that all she did when Nita passed her room was glance up for a second, then dive back into her reading. Even so,